He restored a voice to millions of Americans who had been ignored. Father's leadership, the economy climbed to record heights. Jobs were created at an unthinkable pace. Unemployment reached historic lows across all demographics. Wage growth soared. He cut taxes for hardworking families. For history. People bought their first homes in an environment that saw 2 to 3% interest rates. They started their families. My father made the United States energy independent with the lowest gas prices in decades. My father made the United States safe. Our borders were closed. There was peace in the Middle East. Soleimani, al-Baghdadi, the terrorists were dead. My father made the United States North Korea with the courage to impose tariffs on China and with the courage to tear up trade deals. He blew America. Small businesses flourished. He did what he promised. He put America first. We were winning. Donald Trump made America great again. Also created a movement that threatened the special interests in the political elites. A movement that cast a bright light on the institutions of American people. You see it in our schools. God bless the moms who fought back. You see it in your workplace. You see it on every news station. Military, the most iconic military in planet Earth, are stripped of their identity and renamed. Fort Bragg, Benning, Fort Hood. You see it in Hollywood. You see it in our two-tier. They don't even hide it anymore. My father has been censored. The former president ripped off Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Terrorist organizations remain intact. My father has been persecuted, targeted by far-left Democrats, funded by special interest groups, pick judges. My father has been pulled off the ballot of states, radical justices attempting to defy the will of millions of Americans who adore who he is and what he stands for. My father even became the target of an assassin who almost killed America's single greatest hope. The swamp is terrified of this incredible movement. They're terrified of it. Tons of millions of people watching us on TV right now. They've tried everything to keep him from you, everything, to destroy his legacy, his family. They have failed and they will not win. I love my Florida delegation. Thank you. Father stands before you with the most votes of any Republican candidate in the history of our nation. He is defied of every political pundit. He fills stadiums across our country. He energizes Americans to the issues facing this nation and does so with unvarnished honesty. He is not a threat to democracy. He is a threat bribed and coerced. People who have never signed the front of a check and who have been dependent on the government their entire adult lives. Today, as it was in 2016, America's at that crossroads again. Energy prices are soaring. Interest rates are crippling. Everything is unaffordable. The US dollar has been diminished. Inflation has made it impossible for Americans to live, to save for their future. Our infrastructure is crumbling. Our border is out of are dead and displaced in Russia and Ukraine. A war that no end and a war that we are funding. The Middle East has become a hornet's nest. Our greatest ally, Israel, totally under siege. Fentanyl is killing our youth and destroying families. Current administration stands idly by, hoping their inaction will import illegal votes. Crime terrorizes our cities and our suburbs. Destroying the dreams of young girls who have trained every minute of their lives. We no longer trust our elections. We no longer trust the system, and we no longer believe that our government is working in our best interest. In spite of where we are today as a nation, I'd like to speak to every American. To the home sleeping under a bridge as illegal immigrants are housed in the most expensive hotels in New York. To the single forced to work 3 jobs. I'm sorry, it does not have to be this way. To the parents who lost a son or daughter to fentanyl, including the incredible woman that spoke the other night, while an administration does absolutely nothing. I'm sorry, your government can do so much better, and it will. To the children who are being brainwashed instead of learning the fundamentals of school, I'm sorry, there are teachers who care, and my father will empower them. To the law enforcement officers, our brave border patrols, to work every single day to protect our communities, knowing damn well that the system will throw you under the bus, I'm sorry, we will stand behind you. To commuters often petrified to take a train or walk the streets in cities across our nation, I'm sorry, that man right there will fix this. To the construction workers, to the middle-class families, to the families with children with disabilities, who no longer afford medical benefits or to take a vacation, I'm sorry, we will make America great again. And to my father, silenced, slandered, and attacked by a corrupt administration, I'm sorry. We know, and America knows, that they're not just after you, of us, and you just happen to be standing in their way. To all Americans watching tonight, the greatest retribution will be our success. Sick for ourselves, but for our grandchildren and our children. Under President Donald J. Trump, the swamp will be drained. America will be respected. Our cities will be safe, will be clean, and our border will once again be secure. We will have peace. We will have prosperity. Your hard-earned tax dollars will enrich a better America, not be squandered in corrupt foreign nations. Education will be handed back to the states. We will no longer be 30th in the world. Our children will understand family. Our children will have values, and our children will. Our country will free speech, respect freedom of religion, and honor our Constitution. As his son, I've never been more proud of a person in my life. A man who has defied all odds more than once, believed in the promise of America when others turned away. A man who saw a nation in need of a champion and answered that call with unwavering courage. A man who survived a bullet that was intended to eliminate him permanently from our future and from our family. Never have I been more proud to be a Trump. Never have I been more proud to stand by my father's side. I remain incredibly honored to be part of this journey, a journey with all of you, a journey to save the country on earth, a journey with the most incredible people. By the grace of God, divine intervention, and your guardian angels above, you survived. Have ever seen. You are strong, you are full of life, and you are unapologetic. Your optimism is contagious. Your backbone is unbreakable. Your conviction to fight for what is right and against all that is wrong is truly next level. The whole world saw your strength as you stood up. You wiped the blood off your face, and you put your fist in the air in a moment that will be remembered as one of the most courageous acts in the history of American politics. You shouted, "Fight, fight, fight!" I'm honored to be your son. I'm honored to great nation tonight. You are a true leader. You epitomize strength. Our country loves you. Our country appreciates you. Our country misses you. And on our country Good night, Milwaukee. God bless you all.
Eric Trump delivering that speech, delivering much of the red meat that we saw from his brother yesterday, igniting and energizing this convention. It is just past the top of the hour now. For those of you just joining us, we just heard from former President Trump's son Eric speak on the final night of the Republican National Convention.
Okay, this is Donald Trump's night. We expect his speech soon in this hour. We're also going to see a performance by the musician Kid Rock. There'll be a video about Mr. Trump. And then Dana White, the UFC president, will be introducing him. But we've got Hallie Jackson and Kristen Walker alongside, as always. And Kristen, it's just so interesting because they really have been trying to have this sort of softer, gauzier image of Donald Trump. But last night and tonight, it's Don Jr. and Eric Trump who have really brought out those grievance issues that Donald Trump talks about all the time in the rallies, but we hadn't heard that much about. But he's our elections, said his father has been persecuted and prosecuted, kind of bring up all of those greatest hits to the crowd, which this is, how it's received by the audience watching at home.
And that's the big question. Now, the audience back at home is going to wait for the big show and Donald Trump's speech, but it's so notable because his sons, Don Jr. and Eric Trump, sort of took on the role of the attack dog, what we typically see of the vice presidential nominee. And as you point out, they didn't hold back, talked about the fact that we no longer trust our elections. Important to point out, there has been an erosion of faith in our institutions yet to concede the last election, and there have been questions raised about the last election, even though all of the legal challenges have been put to rest.
Right, people are questioning it because he's been feeding that narrative for 4+ years.
Exactly, and it's part of what led to the lower turnout, by the way, in the mid. Republicans are actually doubling down, trying to say, we got to get out early in this next election cycle. It's also interesting. He tried to redefine retribution. He said, our retribution will be our success. It was a slight twist, a slightly lighter way to get at what has been one of Donald Trump's biggest attack lines.
He said huge expectations about the country. They can all be fixed by Donald Trump. One point of business, that many of you watching that speech may be wondering who the little girl was sitting in the lap of the former president. That is Carolina Trump. She is the daughter of Eric Trump.
Yes, so she's sitting on her grandfather's lap. She's 4 years old. It's a late night for her.
Stealing the show at moments.
Oh, yes.
But appropriately.
Giving us Prince Louis vibes. Everybody, a toddler on stage like that. You have a 4-year-old.
As the mother of a 4-year-old, fast to sleep right now. We're doing the same thing, I think, that Carolina was doing right there.
So we're watching as it's mixing and mingling on the convention floor. They're running a bit behind schedule right now, but we do expect the marquee event, former President Trump, to take this stage. It's so interesting. There's been so much talk this week about how former President Trump said he ripped up his streets. He wants to strike a unified. Not here. We've heard the same sort of persecution narrative from his sons. We've seen excerpts of former President Trump's speech, and there are the calls that for him uncharacteristic, including there's a line in there about saying, I don't want to be president of half of America, but the whole of America. And it's kind of an unremarkable sentiment, but it's remarkable because
coming from him, that is what makes it extraordinary. That's exactly the line that I was looking at, Savannah, as we have now these excerpts that we can share with people. He says that as Americans were bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny. He also strikes some pretty overtly religious overtones, talking about that moment. Is expected now, based on this reporting, to clearly lay out his account of what happened to him on that stage. In fact, he says something along the lines, never tell you a second time. So it'll be interesting to hear that, especially as this crowd.
Melania Trump is now stepping out to the roar of the crowd. So just a glimpse of her. Say again?
A musical interlude right now at the RNC in Milwaukee as the crowd gets ready for the formal presentation of former President Trump. As mentioned, the schedule a little bit delayed, and now we're seeing first former rapturous applause.
We have not seen her as a part of this campaign.
Emotional statement on Sunday after the shooting, the attempted assassination of her husband, but she has not been a feature of this campaign trail. So for her on this night is notable.
And Kristen, what we have seen in this campaign in terms of the family involvement, very different than what we saw from run for president.
In 2016, his family was a staple on the campaign trail. Melania Trump was a staple by his side. I had a chance to interview the former president back in September of last year. He said we'll see her soon on the trail. At that time, we really haven't seen much of her. He also noted she is a private person by nature.
We're going to squeeze. We're moments away from the former president's address to accept.
Freedoms we all cherish. Story.
Hello,
We're talking possibly a
Thanks
trillion
for
galaxies.
joining
That is a number that is just so hard to compute. Whether it's the moon, it feels like we're on the cusp of something big.
Now, I want to hear
More Americans turn to NBC News than any
I'm
news
just
organization.
Welcome back to our special coverage of the final night of the Republican National Convention. Soon from the RNC, we'll see a performance from the musician Kid Rock. Later, we'll hear from UFC CEO Dana White. And then tonight's final speaker, former President Trump. Right now, the crowd watching a video montage of Donald Trump's career, including some clips and things that we hadn't heard before.
Oh, some greatest hits appearances on Oprah as a young man, appearance in Home Alone, so that sets the table. Let's go to our senior national correspondent on the floor, see how the delegates are enjoying the show tonight.
Yeah, well, they're enthralled right now. I would call this the Donald Trump, the movie section. As I look up at the crowd right now, literally it looks like everyone is watching a movie far, and there have been speeches that have blown the roof off this place. Came in here. He also was just entertaining, right? He was funny. He made people laugh. And even if you don't care for the politics here, he might have entertained you. And on top of that, let's talk about the former First Lady, right? The whole family walks out except Melania Trump. They add a little drama. Is she here? Is she not here? And then sure enough, the whole place pauses. Melania Trump walks in and she takes a seat right there in the VIP box next to her husband. What is strange, which I know you guys have pointed out, she will not speak at this convention. She spoke in 2016 at the virtual convention as well. But for some reason, she's decided not to speak here. She has taken a major step back with only doing 2 events with the Log Cabin Republicans, which is the LGBT conservative group, something that is close to her heart. I spoke with one of the leaders of that group saying that she was very involved in that. But it's been very, very... It was this appearance tonight and not much else. People still watching this movie. I'm going to send it back to you guys at the convention hall upstairs.
All right, Tom, thanks. I want to go to Garrett Hake right now on the floor in a little different position. Garrett.
Yeah, Lester, I'm sitting just beneath the family box here watching Eric and Laura. And it was a rapturous welcome for her. I can't overstate the degree that she's a celebrity within this movement. The people around me were cheering how much they loved her. Basically, when she was up waving to the crowd, it really did feel almost like a royal reception for someone who has been much more scarce on the campaign trail this time around than in Donald Trump's 2 previous.
All right, we see Eric Trump taking his seat after just delivering his speech, setting up the night for former President Trump, and we're getting closer to that moment. We're seeing the video, the biographical video. There's Melania Trump watching it alongside the delegates.
And Eric may have really smoothed the trail for his father with that, again, red meat speech. So those things have been said, but then allowing a transition for former President Trump to offer perhaps a loftier view of America.
I think those unifying themes, and that if it's not outright red meat, perhaps it's pork, the other white meat, but there will be vintage Trump in this speech, we expect. And in a moment, this former showmanship is laid out a scenario where just that will happen. We're about to get a performance from Kid Rock, then Dana White, the head of the UFC. The theme of the night, Make America Great Again, but a chance of fight breaking out on this convention floor. Let's listen.
What up, America? If you're ready for President Trump to take the stage, I need everybody to stand up. I need everybody to put a fist up in the air. Everybody, get a fist up in the air. Now follow me. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. Say Trump, scream. The devil without a cause. I'm back with the beaver. Axe and Ben Davis slash 30 pack of strolls. Rock the blood, I'm the living proof. Against the gap from the city of truth. You know I jab, stab, and not critics back. And I did not start up when I said that. I'm going back. I went platinum 7 times. Still they ill and want to see us cry. I guess because only God knows why. They call me cowboy, I'm the singer of black. Throw a fist in the air, let me see where you at. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. Say fight, fight. I say Trump, Trump. I like ACDC and ZZ Top. Won't see this beasties in the Kings of Rock. Skinner, Cedar, Lipcorn, Stones. David Attico and the No-Show Jones. Yeah, pass that bottle of Brown. Got the rock from Detroit, the soul from Motown. The underground. Straight game, no baby, I don't play with ass. So watch me rock with Liberace Flash. I'll rock the Clash, boy bands are trash. And Grandmaster Flash, 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 Flash. Oh, they call me cowboy, I'm a singer of the black. Throw a Say fight. I say Trump. Like a rock, this place all super fly. Living double wide, psychom fly. Big dot to ride, feel sad to share. Bring it flash to flare. Like a long hair swinging, middle finger in the air. Skin boots, 65 Chevelle. See me ride, stand and hit a rebel, yeah. I won't live to tell. So if you do, rock for freedom and rock for truth. Who knew I'd blow like Oklahoma, Florida, Georgia, Arizona? Smell the aroma and check my hits. I know a station here, cause Trump's the They call me cowboy, I'm a singer of black. Throw a fist in the air, let me see where you're at. Say Trump, Trump, Trump. Say Trump, Trump, Trump. Say Trump, Trump, Trump. Say Trump, Trump, Trump. I need to hear you louder than that. One more time. I'm a cowboy, badass and black. You say Trump, Trump, Trump. From side to side, from front to back. Come on, Trump. Put Detroit City back on the map. We sing it Trump, Trump. He rocks in the house. This is where I'm at. Get ready for the most patriotic American badass on earth. President Donald Trump's brother, Dana White. God bless America.
Okay, this is not your grandmother's Republican Party with set and the pearls. I'm just some people here are loving that moment, and some look like they might have taken a wrong turn. This was not the Republican convention they remember from back in the old Bush-Reagan years.
What's so interesting is the call and response that we have seen throughout the night and throughout the week when it comes to the word fight, when it comes to that raised fist. Right before Kid Rock came onto the convention stage, which is a sentence that, of course, we're saying here because that's what happened. You saw them put up that picture that has become so symbolic. The former president was rushed off the stage as he was being rushed off after that assassination attempt against him. People here are selling shirts and buying shirts with that picture on it. People here, I've talked to some ear bandages in solidarity with the former president. They have really seized on this imagery.
Dana White takes the podium.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dana White. I am the CEO and president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. So 2 weeks ago, I got a call from President Trump asking me if I'd be willing to speak tonight. As usual, there was no pressure, no demands. He asked me as a friend, and of course, I said yes. Then, after I accepted his offer, he sent me a text message, and I just want to read to you a little piece of what President Trump wrote to me. Dana, I'm so honored that you will be doing the introduction at the National Republican Convention. Think of it as the biggest fight you ever had, a fight for our country, even the world. I only wish you didn't have to interrupt your family trip, but I hope they understand you and they know how important this is. Man who truly cares about people. The mainstream media likes to push the narrative that he doesn't care about anyone but himself. Absolute truth, because I've been friends with this guy for 25 years. And for the people who know me, they'll know this is true. I just want to make something very clear. Nobody in the Trump campaign has ever told me what to say. Nobody tells me what to say, and I'm nobody's puppet. And I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. And I know President Trump. I know President Trump is a fighter. I've been saying this since 2015. Now look at what's happened over the last 10 years. We have all seen it with our own eyes. I'm in the tough guy business, and this man is the toughest, most resilient human being that I've ever met in my life. The higher the stakes, the harder he fights, and this guy never, ever gives up. So what's at stake here? The answer is in President Trump's text, and I quote, "A fight for our country." I know why he's running for president again. Why else would he put himself through everything he's dealt with just to get back here? We all know he doesn't need this. This guy's got a great life. He has a beautiful family, and he has achieved everything that you could possibly achieve in life. I know President for something bigger than himself, and he's willing to risk it all for this country. And I know he wants what's best for the American people, all American people. I know he's running for president to save our American dream. I'm living the American dream, and I know the American dream is very real. Whether you were born in this country or came here from someplace else, this is the last real land of opportunity. President Reagan once said, government's first duty is to protect to pay your bills. How can you ever afford to start a family? And if you don't feel safe in your own town, why would you ever buy a house? I know that President Trump is fighting to save the American dream, and that's what's at stake in this election. We are choosing who we want to lead us in this fight. I know President Trump is a proven leader, a fearless leader, and this country was in a much better place when he was in the Oval Office. In my mind, the choice is clear. But this election, we all get to choose. I know I'm going to choose strength and security. I know I'm going to choose opportunity and prosperity. I know I'm going to choose American leadership and a real American badass. I'm not telling you what choice to make, and I'm not telling you what to think. I'm telling you what I know. I know America needs a strong leader, and the world needs. I know Donald J. Trump is the best choice for President of the United States. My fellow Americans, it is my honor to introduce the 40th, soon to be 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
From Detroit to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say.
Donald Trump about to address the crowd. You're seeing the firefighter kit, the helmet, the gear of the man who lost his life at that rally in Pennsylvania on Saturday night.
Thank you very, very much. Wow. And thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob. And thank you, Lee, right from very much. What a talent. What a beautiful, beautiful song. Thank you. Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. Together, we will launch a new era of safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and we rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, nomination for President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we will do it right. We're going to do it right. Begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt
at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened, please. And therefore, we'll tell you exactly what happened. And you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township in the great Commonwealth. Music was loudly playing and the campaign was doing really well. The stage and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it. Behind me and to the right was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely, in order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right. Ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing and I said to myself, well, what was that? It can only be a bullet. I moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious that we were, and one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they rushed to the stage. These are great people at great risk, I will tell you, and pound on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe. I had God on my side. I felt that. The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, I had not moved my head at that very last instant. The assassin's bullet would have perfectly hit its mark, and I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later. In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. This massive of thousands of people, where the sniper would be, they knew immediately it was a sniper, and then began pointing at him. You can see that if you're a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason They didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. Shot to the head. They saw the blood. And an interesting statistic, the ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed part of the body. For whatever reason, the doctors told me that. I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but this beautiful crowd, they didn't want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you have written all over their faces. So, incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets flying over us, yet I felt serene. But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous. Were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life, took him out. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a presidential moment. Probably was. When I rose surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over, but I could see it. I wanted to do something to let them know I was okay. I raised my right arm at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly and started shouting. Thank you. Once my clenched fist went up, roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like that. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey, comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me. Unbelievable. Seriously wounded. Two other great warriors, spoke to them. Dutch and James Copenhaver, two great people. I also spoke to all of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters and still are. But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a fire chief, respected by everybody. Was accompanied by his wife, Helen. Incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated. And two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly, acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending his helmet, and it was just something, and they're going to do something very special when they get it. But we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. I'd just say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million. James and Corey, including from a friend of mine, just hold up, he sent me a check right here, I just got it. $1 million from Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan. Again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said, well, a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same. Appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey. And the other two, by the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing okay. They're going to be doing very well. They're warriors. So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Corey. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this. Thank you very much. Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that can people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent mother. And everything I have to give with all the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. Nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again. In an age when our politics too often divide us, now is the time to remember that we are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we must not criminalize dissent or political dissent. What's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and label political opponent as an enemy of democracy. Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country. And very big news, as you probably just read. On Monday, a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon, finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional, and the entire case was thrown out of court. With all of that publicity, thrown out of court. If Democrats want to unify our country, they should drop the shunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway, but worthy of our people. On this journey, I am deeply honored to be joined by my And Melania, thank you very much. You also said something really beautiful, a letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I tell you, it's beautiful. In fact, some very serious people said, take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right, Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many. So I also want to thank my entire family for being here. Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, Barron. We love our Barron. And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren. You saw a few of them up there on my lap before. And how good was Dana? Was Dana good? I mean, was he good? You know, he was on probably the only vacation he's had in about, maybe ever, because he works, but about 10 years, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far away, beautiful place. And my people called and he said, yeah, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife. And they came in, they said, Dana won't be able to do it because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, well, you know, that's too bad. And it's good. It's good for him. And that was it. About 30 minutes later, and you just can't do it. You have to go. That's a good wife. So he got on a plane. He got here a little while ago. Now he's going to get on the plane in a little while, and he's going to go back. But they're great, and I just want to thank her and him and their whole family, because that's not easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called, he said, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part, because, you know, Kid does his great song, Big, Big Monster song. I had no idea. You know, he became a friend of mine for years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was. You know, he has rallies, 35, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes in. I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. You want to raise? And it was a big success, but we made that. So let's leave. But they all wanted to be here. They called. And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? Is he up? Where is he? Boy, oh boy. You know, they may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched him many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by didn't want to really come up here, but he was so great, and he's such a good young of the history of the United States. A week, you know, from the Democrats, crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And all, we beat them on the impeachments, we beat them on indictments, we beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would, is to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country. Jason, the big you for being here. Jason, thank you very much. Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha. He's going to be a great vice president. He's going to be great. He'll be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country, Make America Great Again. And they criticize it. They said, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is Make America Great Again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. People that did try and fight it have failed. But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great, great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale. They met at Yale. These are two smart people. So, J.D., you're going to be doing this for a long time. Enjoy the ride. And a very special, the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of, oh, there they are. There they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have a good team. Okay. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are paying over $250 million here. Economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote. I'll be honest about that. I promise you will make Wisconsin great again. We're going to make it. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation, to every citizen, whether you're a young or a woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, or a white, Asian, or Hispanic. I extend to you a hand of loyalty. Together, we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed a stock market that was substantially higher than just after COVID. Coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and beating ISIS and so many things, the great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so much. Right to try, right to deal. We got right to try. They were trying to get that for 52 years. Somebody's terminally ill, and hopefully but it does happen. They're terminally ill and they can't use our new space age drugs and other things that we are way ahead. We have the greatest doctors in the world, the greatest laboratories in the world, and you can't do it. They've been trying to get that approved for 52 years. Wasn't that easy? The insurance companies didn't want to do it. They didn't want the risk. The labs didn't want to do it because if it didn't, or down the line toward death, they didn't want to do it. The doctors didn't want to have it on their records, so I got everybody into an office. 52 years they tried. Sounds simple, but it's not. I got them to agree where they're not going to sue anybody. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And what's happened was saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's incredible. Right to try. It's a great feeling. The United States will be respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and crushing, just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it. We also have an illegal immigration crisis, and it's taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful arena. It's a massive invasion at our southern border that is crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Then there's an international crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe, in the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of world. No other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. It's time for a change. This administration can't come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough people. They're fierce people. And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce. So tonight, great people of America, I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will drill, baby, drill. Can you believe what they're doing? But by doing that, we will lead a large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before, and we'll end lots of different things. We'll start paying off debt and lowering taxes even further. Tax cut. We'll do it more. You know, people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down, and yet we took in more than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Most people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high. I changed both of them, and hundreds of billions of dollars by Apple and so many other companies were brought back into our nation, and we had an economy the likes of which no nation had ever seen. China, we'll do it again, but we'll do it even better. I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing up the wall, most of which I've already built. On the wall, we were dealing with a very difficult Congress. We said, oh, that's okay. We won't go to Congress. I call it an invasion. We gave our military almost $800 billion. I said, I'm going to take a little of that money because this is an invasion. And we built, most of the wall is already built. And we built it through to stop the invasion into our country that's killing hundreds of thousands of. We're not going to let that happen. I will end every single international crisis that the current has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president, and the war caused by on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion in the last 2.5 years. They were broke. I watched the other day on a show called Deface the Nation. Has anyone seen it? And they had a Congress say, well, whether you like them or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more. And they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil. And they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again. And they took off all the sanctions and they did everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having a nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame what this administration, the damage that this administration has done. And I say it often. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Together we will restore vision, strength, competence, and we're going to have a thing called common sense, making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense. Just a few short years ago, under my presidency, we had the most secure border and best economy in the history of our country, in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had never done anything like it. We were beating every, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation, soaring incomes were going. Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. And the world was that inflation has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it, it doesn't matter. People that were putting away money, they were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away anything. They're barely living. They're going into savings accounts. They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. We've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had. But what's happened to those countries? We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person. But in less than 4 years, our opponents have success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today, our cities are filled with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. By the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. Unions are suffering because of it. You too. Thank you very much. Inflation has wiped out the life savings of our citizens and forced them. Great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again. Thank you. With proper leadership, every disaster will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight, whether you've supported me in the past or not, I hope you will support me in the future. I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even hear about the American dream anymore. With great humor, I am asking you to be excited about the future of our country. Be excited. Be excited. And by the way, the news reports, look at all big networks, look at them, they're all here. But every one of them has said this could be the most organized, best run, and most enthusiastic convention of either party that they've ever seen. Every single one. And it's true. It's true. And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room. So I better finish strong. Otherwise, we'll blow it. And we can't let that happen. Now, this was great. All of the great people, everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do. Now, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds. Love, it's about love. This week, the entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They're hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're. In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Speaker of the House with us tonight, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Thank you. A Republican, many senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a few short months from now. We're talking about just months. Can't come fast enough. We have to get it done. First, we must get economic relief to citizens. Starting on day one, we will draw affordable again. We have to make it affordable. It's not affordable. People can't live like this. Under this administration, current administration, groceries are up 57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what they increase an average of $1,000 per family under this administration. Republicans have a plan to bring down prices and bring them down very, very rapidly. It will in turn reduce the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and all household goods. So much starts with energy. And remember, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country by far. We are a nation that has the opportunity to make an fortune with its energy. We have it, and China does it. Under the Trump administration just 3.5 years ago, independent, but soon we will actually be better than that. We will be energy dominant and supply not only ourselves, but we will supply the rest of the world with numbers that nobody has ever seen, and we will reduce our debt, $36 trillion. We will start reducing that, and we will also reduce your taxes still further. Next, by the way, they want to raise your taxes 4 times. Think of it. And all my life, I grew up watching politicians. I always loved politics. I guess I was on the other side. I'd watch and they were always talking about, we will give you a tax cut. We will give you a tax cut. My whole thing, I will give you a tax cut, right, Mr. Congressman? That's all they talked about. This is the only administration that said, we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times what you're paying now. And people, I've never heard it. You're paying too much. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. We gave you the biggest one, as I said, we're going to give, and it's going to lead to tremendous growth. We want growth in our country. That's what's going to pay off our debt. And next, we will end the ridiculous and actually incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that and that's caused tremendous inflationary pressures in addition to energy. And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, will not allow it to be spent on meaningless green new scam ideas. And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day one. Thereby saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening right now, and saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car. And right now, as we speak, large factories just started, are being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country. No anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers Union should be voting for Donald Trump, because we're going to bring back car manufacturing and we're going to bring in they're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world. Think of it, in the world. We're going to bring it back. We're going to make them. We don't mind that happening, but those plants are going to be built in the United States, and our people are going to man those plants. And if they don't agree with us, we'll put a tariff of approximately 100 to 200% on each car, and they will be unsellable in the United States. We have long been taken advantage of by other countries, and think other countries are considered so-called allies. They've taken advantage of us for years. We lose jobs, we lose revenue, and they gain everything and wipe out our business. I stopped it. We're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, a USMCA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replace it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, probably the best deal I made with China, where they buy $50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to, but I don't even talk about it. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus. We will not let countries come in, take our jobs, and plunder our nation. They come to they plunder our nation. The way they will sell their product in America is to build it in America. Very simple. Build it in America and only in America. And this very simple formula, and Congress has to go along with us, and they will. This very simple formula will create massive numbers of jobs. We will take over the auto industry again, and many, many hundreds of thousands of jobs. We lost so many jobs over the years. If you go back 20, 25 years, they've stolen, going to China and Mexico, about 68% of our auto industry manufacturing jobs. We're going to get them all back. We're going to get them all back, every one of them. At the center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular in this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips. I got that by having dinner recently in Nevada, where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip, and it's a great building, and the waitress comes over. How's everything going? Really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they find him? She said, actually, and I didn't know this. She said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money. It's just ridiculous. And they don't believe anything we say. And they've just hired, as you know, 88,000 agents to go after most people go out, they hire consultants, they pay millions of dollars. But they just ask you, everybody loves it. Waitresses and caddies and drivers and large group of people that are being really hurt badly. They make money, let them keep their money. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because all of these people, by the millions they're coming in, they're going to be on Social Security and Medicare and other things, and you're not able to afford it. They are destroying your Social Security and your Medicare, undermine income. Inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly. It can succeed unless we stop the illegal immigrant invasion, the worst that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Third world countries with sticks and stones not to let this happen. The invasion at our southern border, we will stop it, and we will stop it quickly. You heard Tom Homan yesterday. Tom Homan, put him back in what? Brandon Judd, the Border Patrol, he's incredible. These guys, they really, their job is a lot easier if they don't have to do anything, but they want to. They're patriots. Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, ICE. ICE goes out. You have to see what ICE does with MS-13. You have the worst gang, and ICE goes in there. And I know a lot of people in these rows here, and they're very tough people, but they don't want to do this job. They'll go into a pack of MS-13 killers. They're the worst. Probably the worst gangs in the world. We have thousands of them. I have thousands and thousands out in my 4 years. We moved them out, and it was go right into a pack of these killers, and you see fists flying, you see everything flying. They put them in a paddy wagon. Anymore. And the next day I got calls from all of these countries that were terminated. Billions of dollars we spend on economic aid to countries that does us, frankly, no good. And the next day but I couldn't take all the calls. Sir, what's the problem? I said, you won't take your killers that you sent in caravans into America. You won't take them back. Well, like us too, we would give very serious consideration to doing that. And within 24 hours, they were being taken back. For years and years, when I first, they said President Obama tried to get him to go back, and they wouldn't accept him. They put planes on the runway so you couldn't leave the plane. They closed the road so you couldn't take the buses. They'd all have to turn back. As soon as I said no more economic aid of any kind to any country that does that, they called back and they said, sir, it would be our great honor to take MS-13. We love them very much, sir. We'll take them back. At the heart of the Republican platform is our pledge to end this border nightmare and fully restore the sacred and sovereign borders of the United States of America. And we're going to do that on day one. That means two things on day one, right? Drill, baby, drill, and close our borders. And by the way, and I think everybody as a Republican, as a patriot in this room, and most Democrats, we want people to come into our country, but they have to come into our country legally. Legally. Less than 4 years ago, I handed this administration the strongest border in American history chart that saved my life. That was the chart that saved my life. I said, look it, I'm so proud of it. I think it's one of the greatest. It was done by the Border Patrol, one of the greatest charts I've ever seen. It showed everything just like that. You know the chart. Oh, there it is. That's pretty good. Wow. Last time I never really got to look at it. But without that chart, I would not be here today. Never got to look at it. I said, you got to see this chart. I was so proud of it. And by the time I got to there, I never got to see it that day. But I'm seeing it now, and I was very proud. If you look at the arrow on the bottom, that's the lowest level, the one on the bottom, heavy red. It's the lowest level of illegal immigrants ever to come into our country in recorded history, right there. Right there. Office. And then you see what happened after I left. Look at the rest. And if you go out a little bit further, it's getting to be a little bit old, but I love it anyway, right? But you can go much higher with those numbers. Look what happened right after that. The invasion began. We had the opposite. We stopped the invasion, but the invasion we stopped was peanuts by comparison to what happened after I left. Look at what happened after I left. They took over our country. We ended all catch and release. We shut fraud. We stopped human trafficking and forged historic agreements to keep illegal aliens on foreign soil. We want them to stay on their soil. Under the Trump administration, if you came in illegally, you were apprehended immediately and you were deported. You went right back. The current administration terminated one of those great Trump policies that I put in place to seal the border. I wanted to how unfair it is. So many people, hundreds of thousands of people have been working for years to come into our country. And now they see these people pour. So that it's so unfair. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to stand for it. They suspended all construction, ended remain in Mexico. We had a policy, remain in Mexico. You think that was easy from the Mexican government? But I said, you must give it to us. If you don't give it to us, there will be repercussions. And they gave it to us, but not easy. Can't agreements, demolished Title 42, implemented nationwide catch and release. That's catch and release, where we catch them and release them to our country. We catch them and release them into Mexico. There's a slight difference. And took 93, this is the previous administration, 93 executive actions to throw open our border to the world. The entire world is pouring into our country because of this very foolish administration. The greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country. They are coming in from every corner of the earth, not just from South America, but from Africa, Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. They're coming at levels that we've never seen before. It is an invasion indeed. And this administration, you know, the press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? the late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner. That's insane asylums. They're emptying out their insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at numbers that we've never seen before. Going to happen. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up while crime statistics all over the world are going down because they're taking their criminals and they're putting them into our country. A certain country, and I happen to like the president of that country very much, but he's been getting great publicity because he's a wonderful shepherd of the country. He says how well the country's doing because their crime rate is down. And he said he's training all of these rough people, rough. He's training them. And I've been reading about this for 2 years. I think, oh, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at it. But then I realized he's not training them. He's sending all of his criminals, his drug dealers that are in jails. He's sending them all to the United States. And he's different in that he doesn't say that. He's trying to convince everybody what a wonderful job he does in running the country. Well, he doesn't do a wonderful job. And by the way, if I ran one of the countries, many countries from all over, I would be worse than any of them. I would have had the place totally emptied out already. But we become a dumping ground for the world, which is laughing at us. And they can't believe that they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but they're not going to be getting away with it for long. That's what I can tell you. In Venezuela, Caracas, high crime, Venezuela, really a dangerous place, but not anymore. Because in Venezuela, crime is down 72%. In fact, if they would ever win this election, I hate to even say that, we will have our next Republican convention in Venezuela because it will be safe. Our cities will be so unsafe, we won't be able, we will not be able to have it there. In El Salvador, murders are down by 70%. Why are they down? You convinced that because he's murderers to be wonderful people? No. They're down because they're sending their murderers to the United States of America. This is going to be very bad. And bad things are going to happen, and you're seeing it happen all the time. That's why, to keep our family rotation operation in the history of our country. Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation operation we've ever had. Just recently, I spoke to the grieving mother of Jocelyn Nungary, a wonderful woman, a precious 12-year-old girl from Houston who last month was tied up, assaulted, and strangled to death after walking to the convenience store just a block away from her house. Her body was dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek, found by some onlookers who couldn't believe what they had witnessed. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela who came across our border, were in custody, and were then released into the country by this horrible, horrible administration that we have. I also met recently with the heartbroken mother, Rachel Morin. Rachel was a mom of 5 beautiful children who was brutally raped and murdered while out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape. It was very important to her. She was murdered. The monster responsible first killed another woman in El Salvador before he was led into America by the White House. This White House let them in. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles before murdering Rachel in Maryland. Traveled all throughout the country, doing tremendous damage. Rachel's mother will never be the same. I spent time with her. She will never be the same. I've also met with the wonderful family of Laken Riley, the brilliant 22-year-old nursing student. She was so proud of being first in her class, who was out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia when she was assaulted, beaten, and horrifically killed. Yet another American life was stolen by a criminal alien administration. And these were incredible people we're talking about. These were incredible people who died. Tonight, America, this is my vow. I will never let criminals into our country. I will keep our sons and daughters safe. As we bring security to our streets, we will help bring stability to the world. President in modern times to start no new wars. You know, we were the toughest, we were the most respected. Saw this hungry, strong country run by very powerful, tough leaders, tough guy. Press doesn't like him because he's tough. And he kept asking him at an interview, the whole world is exploding. What's happening? What's going on? Viktor Orban. Tell us what's going wrong, what's happening, what is it? He said, there's only one way you're going to solve it. You got to bring President Trump back to the United States because he kept everybody at bay. He used a word I wouldn't use because I can't use that word, because you'd say it was braggadocious. The press would say he was a braggart. I'm not a braggart. But he said Russia was afraid of him. China was afraid of him. Everybody was afraid of him. Nothing was going to happen. The whole world was at peace. And now the world is blowing up around us. All of these things that you read about were not going to happen. Under President, Russia invaded Georgia. Under President Obama, Russia took Crimea. Under the current administration, Russia is after all of Ukraine. Under President Trump, Russia took nothing. "100% of ISIS in Syria and Iraq," something that was said to take 5 years, sir. It'll take 5 years, sir. We did it in a matter of a couple of months. We have a great military. Our military is not woke. It's just some of the fools on top that are woke. I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him. The press hated to get along with him. Well, you know, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they say that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how could you possibly do that? But no, I got along with them, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Now North Korea is acting up again, but I get along with them. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you know the truth. Our opponents inherited a world at peace and turned it into a planet of war. We're a planet of war. Look at that attack on Israel. Look at it began to be a disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. The worst humiliation in the history of our country. We have never had a humiliation like that. 13 heroic U.S. service members were tragically and needlessly killed. 45 others were horrifically wounded. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs, face explosions, horrifically wounded. And by the way, we have a man in this room who's running for the U.S. Senate from a great state, Nevada, named Sam Brown. who paid the ultimate price. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. He paid the biggest price probably ever paid by anybody that is running for office, and I think he's going to do great. He's running against a person that is not good, not respected, a total lightweight. But Sam, I think, paid really, we were talking about it with some of the senators that for Sam, but he paid the biggest price of any senator ever to run for the Senate. I don't think anybody's ever what he did. He was a real hero, a real, and he's running, and I hope that everybody gets out and votes for Sam Brown. And we also left behind $85 billion worth of military equipment, along with many American citizens were left behind. Many, many American citizens, emboldened by that disaster. Russia invaded Ukraine. They saw this group of people that were incompetent. We took the soldiers out first, no soldiers out second. If they would have followed my plan, we had a great plan. But the plan only kicked in if they did everything perfectly, and they weren't doing things perfectly. So we said it doesn't kick in. You know, 18 months in Afghanistan, we didn't have one, so they were killing them left and right, snipers. And I spoke to the head of band. You've heard this story. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever, ever do that again. You're going to stop. Because during the Obama administration, many great people and soldiers, a lot of soldiers were being killed from long distance. I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to be hit harder than anybody's ever been hit by a country before. And he said, I understand, Your Excellency. I wonder if he calls the other guy Your Excellency. I doubt it. The guy gave him everything. I mean, what kind of a deal was that? He walked out, gave him everything. Get that right now, Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons. But think of it. He actually said to me, but do you show me a picture of my home? I say, your people or one of your wives? Attack on an American soldier, 18 months. And then we had that horrible day where soldiers were killed. I was not there because of a ridiculous election, but we had that horrible attack. And they all the biggest bases anywhere in the world, air bases, anywhere in the world, the longest runways, most powerful, hardened, thickened runways. We gave it up. And I liked it, not because of Afghanistan. I liked it because of China. It's 1 hour away from where China makes their nuclear. And now China is likewise circling Taiwan, and Russian warships and nuclear submarines are operating 60 miles off the coast in Cuba. Do you know that? No, the press refuses to write about it. If that were me running this country and we had nuclear submarines in Cuba, I will tell you that the headlines every day would be, what's wrong with our president? You don't even hear this. You're not hearing about this. Russia has nuclear submarines 60 miles away, Mr. Congressman, from Miami, by the way, happens to be here, correct? In Cuba. And that would not be stood for if it were somebody else. They don't want to mention it, but now maybe they will. And the entire world, I tell you this, we want our hostages back, and they better be back before I assume office, or you will be paying a very big price. With our victory in November, the years of war, weakness, and chaos will be over. I don't have wars. I had no wars other than ISIS, which I defeated, but that was a war that was started. We had no wars. I could stop wars with a telephone call. Like just a telephone call. If properly stated, it would never start. We will replenish our military and build an iron like our homeland. And this great Iron Dome will be built entirely in the USA. And Wisconsin, just like I gave you that massive, and you're doing a very nice job, Governor, right? Thank you, Governor. And they're doing a great job. In fact, I had a little design change. We gave them tremendous for essentially what we used to call destroyers. These are now the most beautiful. They look like yachts. I said, we have to take the bow and we have to make it a little nicer and a little point at the top instead of a flat nose. And the people at the shipyard said, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. We have the most beautiful ships, right, Governor? And everybody sitting over there. And it was a big I wanted, I gave it to Wisconsin, but we're going to have a lot of that built right here in the state of Wisconsin and all other states. Israel has an Iron Dome missile defense system, 340, and only a little bit. It was badly wounded. It fell to the ground, but most of them are. And Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but we really didn't have the technology many years ago. Remember, they called it Starship, spaceship, anything to mock him. But he was a very good president, very, very good. But now we have unbelievable technology. And why should other countries have this and we don't? No, we're going to build an Iron Dome over our country, and we're going to be sure that nothing can come and harm our people. And again, from an economic development standpoint, we're going to make it all right here. No more sending it out to other countries in order to help. It's America first. America. We will unleash the power of innovation. And as we do, we will soon be on the verge of finding the cures to cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and many other diseases. We're going to get to the bottom of it. You remember this gentleman that I don't want to mention other than one time I had to, because when you confused, but this man said, we're going to find a cure to cancer. Nothing happened. We're going to get to the cure for cancer and Alzheimer's and so many other things. We're doing something great. But we need a leader that will let it be done. We will not have men playing in women's sports. That will. We will restore and renovate our nation's once great cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And that includes our nation's capital, which is a horrible killing field. So many things. They leave from Wisconsin, they go to the Washington Monument, they end up getting stabbed. We will be very soon very proud of our capital, again, Washington, D.C. But we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. We're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it. Japan wants to do it. All of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new. If you look at some of the things that have been done and some of the things that we're going to do, but AI needs tremendous, literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine? Building places where they recharge electric cars. They built 8 chargers at a certain location, the Midwest. 8 chargers for $9 billion. Think of them as a tank for filling the gas. Think of it. They spent $9 billion on 8 charges, 3 of which didn't work. And if you were going to do this all over our country, the crazy electric man, by the way, I'm all for electric. They have their application. But if somebody wants to buy a gas-powered car, gasoline-powered car, they're going to be able to do it. And we're going to make that change on day 1. So to conclude, just a few short days ago, my journey with you ended. We know that. And yet, here we are tonight, all gathered together, talking about the future, promise, and a total renewal of a thing we love very much. It's called America. We live in a world of miracles. None of us knows God's plan or where life's adventure will take. I want to thank Franklin Graham for being here tonight. He's an outstanding man. He wrote which I said, he said, it won't make any difference. Actually, it does. The story's not quite as good, but I've been very good. The story is not quite as good, to be honest. I've got to have a little talk with Franklin, but he was great. He's a great gentleman. His father was so incredible, Billy Graham. My father used to love taking me to see Billy Graham. My father would take me to see Billy Graham at Yankee Stadium. He had the biggest rallies you've ever seen. He was a good rally guy, too. But he'd get up and he was the guy. My father loved Billy Graham. But I love Franklin Graham. I think Franklin's been fantastic. I'm working so hard to adhere to his note. I'm working hard on it, Franklin. If the events of last Saturday make anything clear, it is that every single moment we have on earth is a gift from God. We have to make the most of every day for the people and for the attacker in Pennsylvania won't stop our movement, but the truth is the movement has never been about me. It has always been about, it's the biggest movement in the history of our country by far. Can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. It has always been about the democratic citizens of America. For too long, our nation has settled for too little. We settled for too little. We've given everything to other nations, to other people. You've been told to lower your expectations, to accept less for your families. I am here tonight with the opposite message. Your expectations are not big enough. They're not big enough. It is time to start expecting and demanding the best world leadership that is bold, dynamic, relentless, and fearless. We can do that. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our, but as long as our energies are spent fighting each other, our destiny will remain out of reach. And that's not acceptable. Instead, take that energy and use it to realize our country's true potential and write our own thrilling chapter of the American story. We can do it tonight. We are going to come together, and success will bring us together. Story of love, sacrifice, and so many other things. And remember the word devotion. It's unmatched devotion. Our American ancestors crossed the Delaware, survived the icy winter at Valley Forge, and defeated a mighty empire to republic. They fought so hard, they lost so many. Frontier, taming the will. They packed their families into covered wagons, trekked across hazardous trails, towering mountains, and brave rivers and rapids to stake their claim on the wide open, new, and very beautiful frontier. If life was threatened, American patriots marched onto the battlefield, raced into enemy strongholds, and stared down death and stared down those enemies to keep alive the flame of freedom. At York and Gettysburg and Midway, they joined the roll call of immortal heroes. So many just so many heroes, so many great, great people. And we have to cherish those people. We can't forget those people. We have to cherish those people. And building monuments to those great people is a good thing, not a bad thing. They saved our country. No challenge was too much. No hardship was too great. So endured, and they prevailed because they had faith in each other, faith in their country, and above all, they had faith in their God. Just like our ancestors, we must now come together, rise above past differences. Disagreements have to be put aside and go forward united as one people, nation, pledging allegiance to one great, beautiful, American flag. Tonight I ask for your partnership, for your support, and I am humbly asking for your vote. I want your vote. Going to make our country great again. Every day I will honor the trust you have placed in me, and I will never, ever let you down. I promise that. I will never let you down. To all of the neglected, abandoned, and left behind, you will be forgotten no longer. We will forward, and together we will win, win, win. Win, 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 win. Nothing will sway us, nothing will slow us, and no one will ever stop us. No matter what dangers come our way, no matter what obstacles lie in our path, we will keep striving toward our shared glorious destiny, and we will not fail. We will not fail. Together we will save this country. We will restore the republic, and we will usher in the rich and wonderful truly deserve. America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, older, freer, greater, and more united than ever. And quite simply, thank you.
President East Coast. As he addressed the delegate. Familiar campaign. And yes, he went off script.
Hello, everybody. Oh, it was a nice speech. You know, it is what it is. It was a little long, but at least he mentioned God. Got to get out my tongue. He talked about the borders. He talked about unity. But hey, we're all leaders, we're all presidents, and we all have God in us. This is April Showers. Everybody have a great night. And please, pause, please. Mm. Oh.